Is a Grammy Award heavy? This is the text that I sent to my past student Blake after he'd won 3 Grammy Awards the night before for producing Lizzo's album. Blake was 25 years old. His response? Yeah. Now, what if I told you Blake was able to win these Grammys because of a single email that he sent when he was 17? Well, that and a lot of hard work that he did for free after he got the opportunity to intern with Benny Blanco, one of the world's biggest music producers. Hey, for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Danny Ruderman, and while my job for the last 20 plus years has been to help students get into their dream colleges, what I actually love more than anything else is helping students think big and teaching them a framework of how to accomplish things that are incredible. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 of the best ways a teen can discover and develop a passion. But unlike in other videos when I'm talking to the parents, in this one, I'm actually going to talk directly to the teenagers because it's been my experience that a high school student will hear this kind of advice in a completely different way coming from me than they will from you. Now, if you're thinking, okay, Danny, but if you start with Blake as an example, I'm not Blake, I'm not a musician, and I don't have any connections. I hear you, but here's the truth. Blake was just like you. Sure, he could play a pretty good guitar in high school, but when I asked him what he could do if he could have any job, no restriction, he said, well, I'd be a music producer, but the industry is so competitive, I think I'll just go into my family's business. To which I responded, Blake, I didn't ask you to tell me why you couldn't do something. I just asked you what you love to do. You see, at the time, Blake didn't realize that he had a superpower that all students have. Adults really want to help someone between the ages of 15 and 18 in a way that they will never help someone in their 20s. And this includes incredibly successful people and even famous people. You would be amazed at what students can get if they ask, and that's the entire point of me telling you the story about Blake. Now, does that mean that you have to win a Grammy? No, absolutely not. But the point is, if you don't ask, you can't get. You see, what I helped Blake do is track down the contact information for several famous music producers. I then helped him write a simple email that I've seen work time and time again to get adults to respond. This then got Blake 1 day's worth of moving furniture in which he never met the producer. He just simply met the producer's assistant. And when he came back to me, he said, well, I moved furniture all day, but I didn't even meet Benny Blanco, so I guess I'm done. And I said, oh no, Blake, you're just getting started. You see, you have a foot in the door, a connection, and we're going to build on that connection. So I had him write another email thanking the producer's people for the opportunity and letting them know he was available anytime if they needed any kind of help. Well, several months went by with Blake just touching base occasionally to check in. Then, the assistants let Blake know that they would be setting up a new studio in Los Angeles and wanted to see if he would just help set it up. Well, let's just say that on that last day of him doing more manual labor, he got to meet Benny, who, unbeknownst to both of us, had also had a mentor when he was in his late teens. So we invited Blake to stop by the recording studio to sit in on a session or two. This then became an informal internship where Blake ran errands and anything else needed. In fact, one day they asked Blake to move a huge pile of wood from the parking lot, which Blake did without question. And when he was done, they told him they just wanted to see if he would do it without complaining. Now, that internship would grow into a 3.5-year internship. That ended up allowing Blake to get signed as a producer, which only a couple years later resulted in the Grammy wins. Nice. You see, most students don't think big enough, or they're too scared to ask for what they want. But once they do it and see success for the first time, it builds on itself. Other students are led to believe that there's some prescribed way to, say, get into a top college. It's a certain number of awards, or community service, or some sort of special talent, or the laser they built in their basement. However, in my experience, it's not about that. It's not about doing things for college. It's about helping students discover a passion and then helping them do more of it in outside-the-box ways. Now, again, I'm not saying you have to become nationally known, but the principles in this story have a lot to do with helping you figure out what would actually be awesome to do, something you're excited about that would also give you exposure into an area that you might want to continue doing in later in life. Now, let me be clear. I've had students build businesses, do research projects, get internships, publish novels, sell art, work in research labs, start charities, build an 18-foot rock climbing wall in their backyard. True story. Become a stand-up comedian, create a children's book, start a fashion magazine, host a sports podcast, run social media for political campaigns, intern at NASA, and even start Snapchat. So even if you don't have any idea of what interests you, I guarantee that there is something out there that you can love to do that also taps into your natural talents. So here's way number one. Discover your big why. What's a big why? Well, let me explain by telling another story. So there's a woman named Shri, and when she was 15 years old, her grandfather died of cancer. This inspired her to want to go into cancer research. So she made up her mind to find a lab at a university to start volunteering so she could learn about cancer research. And one day she emailed 3 professors, and they all either ignored her or turned her down. So she thought, well, I'll just keep emailing professors until someone says yes. Well, she ended up emailing 103, and 100 of them said no or ghosted her. But 3 of them agreed to talk with her, and 1 of them agreed to have her come and work in the lab when she was 16. Now, when she got to the lab, she began working on a protocol for a certain type of cancer, and she tried something that allowed the cancer cell's resistance to drop and be killed by chemotherapy. And she was like, oh my God, did this just work? So she took the results to the researcher and asked her if the results were right. And the professor said something like, well, go do it 50 more times and then we'll see. Sure enough, the thing that she did allowed those cancer cells to be killed. In other words, she had found a cure for a certain type of cancer. So she published her results, won the inaugural Google Science Fair prize, won $50,000, and then went to Harvard. Now again, why am I telling you this? Do you have to win some sort of award? No, this story is about finding your big why. Most students wouldn't have emailed 103 professors. She did it because she felt in her heart that doing research was something that she needed to do. She had a personal stake in it. Now, why is having a big why the absolute key? Because without it, none of you will follow through or bust through potential obstacles that you're going to face to get to your eventual goal. This is why when a parent suggests something like, oh, you should do like community service, it often doesn't work. If you aren't into community service, there's no way that you're going to invest yourself in it. Now, I'm not saying community service is a bad idea. It's an absolutely great idea for everyone involved. However, your heart has to be in something for you to want to put in the time and be consistent over time. Now, I hear you out there, but how do I find something I'm interested in? Or if I do have an interest, what do I do with it? Well, first, just know that most of my students over the years don't know what they want to do at first. So here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper or your phone. So you're going to write down the answers to some questions I'm going to ask, and don't think a lot about it. Just write down whatever comes into your head once you hear the question. You ready? Question 1. If you had $1 billion right now, what would you do with the money? And I'm not looking for the I would build an orphanage answer unless that's actually the answer. If it's, no, I would buy a jet and fly all over the world with my friends. What? Write that down. And you can pause this if you want a minute. Question 2. If you had $1 billion and you were out of college, so you had all the money that you could ever spend, and you already had your college degree, and you say had a magic wand and you could have any job with no restriction, what would that job be? You could be the owner of the Lakers, an astronaut, a rock star, the editor of Vogue. What would sound incredible to do? And it's okay if you don't have an answer. Just think about it and write something down if you do. Question 3. What do you like watching on YouTube or on social media? Is it videos about the 49ers stomping all over Philadelphia? Is it videos on fashion? Now, I'm talking other than like social media influencers because I really don't care what Alex Earl is doing. Okay, I'm dating myself there. In other words, what do you find interesting? Maybe it's theoretical math or Mark Rober science videos. Maybe it's anything on politics or surgeries or video game reviews. Whatever it is, write it down. And again, you can always pause this to think about it. All right, way number 2, discover your natural strengths. Now, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to pause this video and go to this website, www.truity.com. You can also do this on your phone. And once you're on the homepage, click the logo that says Career Test or click the menu at the top that says Personality Test and choose Career Aptitude Test. Now, pause this video and go take that quiz and answer the questions. It should take about 10 to 12 minutes to complete, and I know it's like 94 questions, but they go fast, and I've tried a crap ton of these, and I chose this one for you because it's the least painful and it provides super useful information. So go do that now and come back. Wait, one more thing. It's Truity, TRUITY.com. And you don't need to buy the report for this. Just be sure to leave the results page open on your computer or your phone before you start the video again. Okay, remember when I said it's key to find your big why? Well, there's an equation I like to use, that good talent plus mission equals purpose, otherwise known as your big why. You see, most successful people know what they're good at, and they spend most of their time doing those things because they're the most likely ones to produce the most success. Makes sense, right? Although you'd be surprised at just how many people don't do this and instead keep doing things that aren't naturally easy for them or even enjoyable for them because they think they should. This includes doing things that people say look good for college, even though they're really not into it. The problem with doing things that you should do is that you often end up shoulding all over yourself. I'm sorry, that's a terrible joke, so dumb. What it actually means is that you keep putting off things that you think that you should do until you feel bad about it. Instead, wouldn't it be better to look forward to something? Now, this is not to say that you'll always love what you do. You absolutely won't. But you'll still get a choice of what to focus on. So why not choose the things that make you happy, right? When I asked my past student, Evan Spiegel, the guy who started Snapchat, whether he wished he had gotten a business degree, note, he majored at product design at Stanford, he basically said something like, hell no, why would I want to learn accounting when I could hire an accountant to do that for me? I need to focus on creating new ideas to make the product better. And yes, I know that the most recent updates to Snapchat suck. I'll let him know. So basically, the little quiz that you took is simply helpful in identifying some of your natural strengths. So simply scroll down on that results page until you get to the section called the 6 interest areas. And reading through these in their descriptions may give you some insights into the type of thing that your brain prefers to do. While some of you may like doing physical things outside, others of you might love to create, while even others of you are more attracted to analytical tasks. Next, scroll down more on that page until you get to the Exploring Career section. And here are just some sample jobs that fit interest areas that came up for you. Now, does this mean that you should do one of these jobs? Hell no, it's just a basic quiz. But maybe the suggestions give you some ideas to think about. Now, what if I were to ask you to simply list some of the strengths or talents that you know you have? Could you do it? Are you a good communicator? Are you very social and tend to be the glue in your friend group? Are you the mom of your friends and like to take care of everyone? Are you the guy who makes everyone laugh? Or are you good at figuring out problems, doing Sudoku, and have a really good memory? Or if academics don't come easily for you, do you possess good street smarts and that you know what to do when you're out in the world? Again, just pause this video and write down anything that comes to mind based on your own knowledge of yourself and anything that might have been sparked to think about from the quiz results. Do this now, and don't worry, we're almost done. Way number 3, figure out your mission. So even if you have one thing written down, now you can start thinking about what your mission is. And a mission is simply something that's really important to you. Some of you might want to make a lot of money. Nothing wrong with that. Others might honestly want to help people. Still others might just want to be creative in some way. Think about what might bring you joy. If you were to know that you were guaranteed to succeed, what would your life look like? In fact, take a minute, use your imagination, and just dream for a second. Now, go back to that second billion-dollar question I asked in the previous section. What would you do if you could do anything and money wasn't an issue? Think about this if you can some more. How does this job relate to your mission? Does it relate to your mission? And once you've dreamed a bit, would your job change, or are there other possibilities that came up for you? Again, just write down anything that comes to mind. Now, I know a lot of you still won't have an answer, and that's totally okay. The important thing is that you've planted this seed in your subconscious, which is going to continue to try to give you answers to the questions that you asked yourself today. An idea could come to you during dinner or right when you get up in the morning. Just let it come without forcing it. You see, once you know some of your strengths, plus your mission or the thing that drives you, these together create your purpose or your big why. Your strengths are the key because, again, if you start doing something that you're already naturally good at, generally you'll automatically feel better about doing it. And let me just put it in one last way by giving you a final example and giving you one last question to consider. Each year, I have many students come to me with an idea. And most recently, I had a guy who was really excited about creating a debate camp for middle schoolers. He wrote out the idea, made an action plan, and then let 3 months go by when nothing happened. Oh, he tried things, but schoolwork, getting his driver's license, girls, his grades, etc., got in the way. This is totally normal. But I finally had to ask him this question. Does he think of himself as a starter or a builder? What's the difference, he asked. Well, a starter, I explained, is someone who loves to start things. They often have exciting ideas and they want to create, and they actually usually start those things. Now, many starters are good at self-initiating action, but they can easily get distracted by what's called shiny object syndrome. They think, oh, I want to start a clothing brand, and then, oh, I want to learn about crypto, or, oh, I should try drop shipping, or AI is going to be huge. You get the idea. Now, a builder is someone who can kick ass if they're given some structure, but they aren't as naturally good at coming up with ideas or starting things. But if they get a job or an internship or work within a school organization and they're clear in what's expected of them, they can thrive. They can come up with ideas, lead others, and make the organization better. You see, a really successful company or organization of any kind needs both starters and builders. The issue is that many students and adults never think about their actual strengths before they launch into something, and then their natural tendencies take over and they don't accomplish what they were initially excited to do. This is why identifying your strengths and pairing it with your mission is so important. Once you know this, you can pick an area and go big. And in the case of this boy, he realized that in addition to debate, he was really into politics. So instead of trying to start his own thing, he got involved in a political campaign where he started off as a volunteer, but then kept getting promoted to the point that he was actually overseeing adults and spending crazy amounts of time helping the campaign manager use new strategies to reach young people. He then got a killer letter of recommendation and an offer to work on future campaigns. So it's not that you have to build something from scratch. There are many ways for you to work within something that exists and still do amazing things. And if this idea makes you want to change some of your answers today, pause the video and go back and write some more things down. For now, though, all I really want you to do is think about anything or everything you wrote down and just let it sit. You might also want to print out the results of that quiz so you can keep it handy. The bottom line is that I hope you can walk away with the idea that when you realize that you have the power to choose your own life, things get much more interesting.